Ah, yes. What a beautiful day to work on an Evo. Let's jump right into it. And you can see I didn't film a lot of what I was doing here because I showed you guys a lot of this already as I worked on this Evo, but I ripped it all apart to drop the transmission because I do have a freshly rebuilt transmission, straight cut third and fourth gear. So we're going to put that in. So we got the Evo up on the hoist. I did utilize a cherry picker as well to hold the transmission up from the top, which came in really handy. This actually worked out pretty smooth overall to drop this transmission this way. And the cool part about doing this is I got to take a peek at my ACT twin mod clutch and see how that was holding up. I did, of course, utilize a jack still to get this out the rest of the way. I give major props and credit to people doing this by themselves in their own garage, all on the floor. I've done it before. I've been there, man. It's a pain. It's so much work to do this transmission swap. So I give everyone credit for doing that themselves. Of course, I do have a full how-to on how to do that. I'll link to that in the video description down below if you haven't seen that video of mine yet. But one of the common things I've heard about with this ACT mod twin clutch is these little fingers, these little metal fingers having issues with either breaking off or wearing down. So I definitely took time to inspect mine. And from what I could tell with my limited knowledge, everything looked perfectly fine, 100% fine. So I was happy to see that nothing looked too out of place there. And fingers crossed that it keeps holding up just as well. And I really love this clutch. It's just such a soft pedal feel that I'm honestly got the same one. I'm going to put it in my black car eventually too, and take out my Exidy twin and put the black one, or put the ACT in my black car as well. I know I'm normally filming way more than this, but guys, it was so nice to do this kind of stuff without actually filming it. And if you're not kind of a YouTube type person, you probably don't understand, but it was nice. One thing I did really want to point out though is that this shaft that holds your clutch fork in place, I had a couple of those and they both had these wear marks on them. It definitely seemed worth ordering a new OEM one. So there's the OEM part number of that shaft. So I went ahead and ordered that new piece so it didn't have any of those marring marks on it. Didn't want to see it get any worse. And another thing I did and learned from is I ordered a brand new clutch fork while I was at it. But one thing I didn't know is the brand new OEM clutch fork does not come with the bushings inside where that shaft runs through. So as you can see, brand new clutch fork, and I'm going to compare it to the other one, and you can see it's a lot bigger of a hole in the center there because the bushing is missing. So I needed to order brand new bushings in order to use that brand new clutch fork. Didn't know that. So I just ended up throwing in an old clutch fork, which is fine. And these seals are always worth buying brand new for me too. These little fuzzy seals. Just went ahead and bought those, two of those seals, one for the top, one for the bottom. Got those in place right away as well. Might as well do that. One of those things you want to do if you're doing a clutch or transmission job. So once I had everything prepped on the new transmission, got it ready to go, of course, put it in place. Again, didn't document everything, but it felt good to just kind of move at a quicker pace and get everything done in a more timely manner and get everything set up here. And of course, I'm always learning new stuff, even though this is a job I've done at least 5 times in my life now, doing a transmission drop. But when I went to try to shift it, and this is why I always tell people to try like test things out before they get too far putting things back together. So once the transmission was bolted up in place and the slave cylinder was reattached, I made sure my clutch worked all right, and then I went to make sure it shifted into all gears. And surprise, surprise, it did not shift into fifth or reverse when I got everything installed. And I was like, what the heck, thinking it's a freshly rebuilt transmission, maybe something's wrong. But I also was thinking, well, maybe something's wrong with my cables. So I took off my cables and then tried to shift through all the gears by hand by manually shifting, the transmission with the levers. And I still couldn't get it in the fifth or reverse. Finally, after thinking about it a little bit and doing a little bit of digging, I did determine that it was my issue was because of my reverse light switch of all things. Basically, my reverse light switch should have a washer on it, and I didn't put that washer in. So that meant that the reverse light switch was going down too far into the hole, basically, and blocking the transmission from being able to shift into fifth and reverse. So whew, I was glad that that was actually a simple fix because I was a little nervous that I was going to be stuck again trying to fix or stick in a different transmission, and I didn't want to have to go down that road. And again, the builds for this transmission, this is straight cut RS motors, straight cut third and fourth gear are put in place. I did get a chance to drive it, shifted great, and the straight cut third was a little louder than I thought. Honestly, makes the fourth not seem noisy at all, but I'll probably get a sound clip, get something posted in the future here if you guys want to hear what it sounds like. And moving on to the rear, a lot of people know about the hard clunk that you can have in the back on an Evo. If you're driving and shifting fast, shifting hard, and you hear hard clunk in the back, it's usually because of this mustache bar bushings and or the bushings on the rear differential here. And these ones were certainly wore out, so I went ahead and got some new bushings for both. I opted for the PowerFlex ones, bushings, because I just wanted street versions. I am trying to avoid too much vibration from really hard bushings or billet mounts or anything like that. And this job was also a lot more work than I thought, mostly because of the mustache bar. For some reason, I didn't think I'd have to drop so much stuff to get to that rear mustache bar. But we'll talk about that in a second. First, I'm going to get these brackets off, braces, whatever you want to call them, that hold the rear diff in place. And we're going to change these as well. These are actually a lot easier to get to. Of course, I'm on a hoist, so it makes everything real easy. But it's not too bad to get to these and to get them free. It can be a little bit tight to get in on the other side with the exhaust. But there's really just the 3 bolts holding it in place, and then the one other bolt, the longer bolt that, of course, mounts up as well. But since I did get kind of like a whole another car from the silver car to this one, what I ended up doing was restoring the ones that were the best shape between the two, and I cleaned them up, painted them, all that stuff. But one of the biggest issues with this, or the hardest thing for most people, is going to be pressing out the old bushings. And as you can see here, I had a piece of exhaust pipe that was just big enough on one side to kind of get around where the bushing is, and you got to make sure that bushing can push through and come through. And on this other side, you need something that is just small enough to not catch on the outer portion, but then large enough to actually press out that old bushing. So doing this is not the easiest thing to do, and there's more than one way to do it for sure. You could technically kind of just cut the old bushing in one way or another and then get it out once you've cut it. So there's more than one way to do this job, that's for sure. But of course, I'm just using a press here since that's what I had, and since I had a bunch of different kind of pieces to push it through. And honestly, I was going to make a detailed how-to on changing these bushings and the rear mustache bar, but I really don't think I'm going to do that. Well, I know I can't do it with the mustache one because I got so frustrated I kind of stopped filming, honestly. But here's the old bushing. You can see, pressed it out and got it out of the way. And then I wanted to clean this up a little bit. I cleaned everything, sanded down a bit, and then put some paint on it just to make it look a little bit nicer and hopefully keep it from rusting as well. So here are the PowerFlex bushings. A thing to note with these is there's a thicker one and a thinner one. As you can see, the thinner one in my right hand here is the one that goes on the top. And then the thicker one is going to be the one that's going to go on the bottom portion. Those should pretty much just squeeze in place. But it is, of course, important to notice that there is a thinner and a thicker one. You certainly wouldn't just want to just end up with both thinner ones on one side, both thicker on the other side. You probably have some issues with that. So once those are pressed in place, then they give you a little bit of grease here that you can utilize to put in the center portion of these bushings. And then you can put the pin through and push that pin in place as well. I could push it through mostly with my hand. It did get a little bit harder partway through, I think, once it was catching on the other bushing. So I just ended up using a plastic hammer just to tap it in a little bit and get it the rest of the way. No harm in doing that. And there it is, all set, ready to be reinstalled. And again, that was kind of the easy part of this job, doing all that. And of course, there's also a washer that will go on the top and the bottom of this, and then you reuse your OEM bolt, but you don't reuse any of the other OEM bushing parts. So we got our OEM bolt back in place with one washer on it, and then what I like to do is kind of screw, I put the washer on top as well, and then I screw in that larger bolt first to make sure I get it started, and then I get the other 3 bolts started as well. This is a little bit of a lost cause for me because I'm going to end up dropping pretty much the rear diff all the way to get that mustache bar out eventually. But just showing you guys how it's done if you were only doing this portion of it. And you can see old versus new looks quite a bit nicer up there with the bushings, the new bushings. I like the purple look. Looks pretty good. So on the pesky mustache bar, they do make a delete kit. If you want to delete it, you can change it out. There's 3 bolts here that go in the rear diff cover that are also a little bit of a pain in the butt to get to. And then there's, of course, the bolts on either side here as well. One thing that we'll get to eventually is I don't understand why they ran the bolts the way they did. They make it so it's a lot harder to get them out. Again, you probably have to drop your rear diff and drop part of this rear subframe to get this bar out anyway. So I guess I get that, but I still don't understand why they made the bolts run the way they did. So we're going to loosen up those 3 bolts that hold the mustache bar in place. There, again, the bottom one's a little bit easier to get to. The top ones are a pain to get to because the angle is just a little bit wrong with like a 17-inch wrench. If I recall, there were 17-inch bolts, so it was a little bit harder to get to them with the a wrench just based on some of the angle of it. So actually I was dropping down the rear diff a little bit here, loosening up both sides. That gives you a little bit more room where you can adjust to trying to get in to get those bolts free, those 3 that hold that mustache bar to the rear diff. And of course, I used the old double wrench technique since I got enough room, or you could utilize a hammer, but they're going to be pretty tight. So if you double wrench it, then you can get more leverage, of course, or you can put a piece of pipe or something on the wrench to give you more leverage as well. So these are the bolts and nuts I'm talking about. So I'm taking off the nut on one side and the bolt on the other side just slides out and hits the spare tire area. So it's just, it seems like a stupid design. I don't know why they put them that way. I couldn't see a reason they couldn't go in the other way. Not gonna lie, I put them in the other way where the bolt could actually be removed easier without dropping everything because it just seemed like a better way to do it for me. But this is to the point where I'm starting to learn and figure out, hey, you know what? I won't probably be able to, 1, get these bolts out, and 2, get this bar out without dropping down a lot of this rear subframe part. Can't think of what the official name of this piece is here that you need to remove, but this whole aluminum piece here, you need to get out or drop down. And actually, I did end up removing the bolts I'm showing here. Plus there's one other one on each side as well. So there's 3 bolts on each side plus the 2 in the middle that will need to be honestly fully removed. I couldn't just like drop it down enough to get things out. I had some stands to hold it in place so it wasn't just on the ground, but removing these bolts is what had to be done. And honestly, that's not a big deal if you're working with a car that's super clean. And this one's obviously cleaner than my old silver one, so it wasn't super rusty, but yet those 2 bolts in the middle specifically, they gave me a bit of trouble where I kind of had to tighten them and loosen them and tighten them and loosen them because I was worried about stripping the threads. So I definitely played with that for a while, making sure I didn't break anything off. I wasn't just going to reef the heck out of them to try to get them out of place. I sprayed them and then tightened them and loosened them and sprayed them and tightened them and loosened them just to make sure I wasn't going to screw anything up because it's a crucial spot to be able to get all those bolts in place. But if you guys have done this yourself, the mustache bar bushings, let me know if there's definitely like an easier way that I missed or something. But again, when it comes to getting this bar out as well, I didn't film it, but because I was getting so frustrated by this time that I just kind of want to get this stuff done. So fast forward to I got the bar out, didn't even take the time to repaint it, just cut out the old bushings, pounded them out, and then put my new bushings in place. But I got it done. That's the main thing. This car's getting closer and closer every day to really being ready. I just want to get some more miles on it, get it driving, and hopefully get it doing some maybe spectator racing and stuff in a little bit since it's kind of that spectator season. But there we go. Everything in the rear sorted out. Hopefully should be good to go back there. One other minor thing when I noticed when I was actually getting a chance to drive this is this has some tint on it, just like my other Evos. They seem to come with a really crappy tint. Guys, pay for good quality tint when you do your tint. This one, it seemed like it had heat waves in it. It would make everything look wavy when you look through the rear view mirror. It was really annoying. Plus, the tint's not even really dark or anything, which doesn't need to be dark to help provide value. I understand having tint can still protect you from the sun. But luckily, it seemed like this came off in larger pieces. So that was kind of nice. I, of course, got it started with a razor blade and started pulling it off in one larger piece. All the windows, I think, are tinted, not just the back one, but the back one is what bothers me the most right now. So I'm trying to definitely sort that out. So even though it kind of came off in one larger piece, problem after that is there's still all this glue on there, all this kind of crappy glue that's on the window tint. So to do that, Dawn dish soap or regular dish soap, spray that on with some water and use a razor blade and scrape it off. At least that's the best way that worked for me. But it's a tedious process, and it's just, you know, not the most fun. But I just want good vision. I want to be able to see good, you know, see well throughout my windows. And this is about where I left off. You can definitely see how crappy it looked, and where I've been going to, you know, scrape everything off to get it better and nice. And hopefully eventually I'll get it retinted with some nice tint. But that's where we're at with the Red Evo. I'm hopeful that now I'm going to start putting some miles on it, start driving it around, start breaking things in, find out what I like about it, what else needs to be fixed with it. But it's coming to the point where hopefully I can start enjoying it. As I've mentioned many times, just a guy on YouTube likes to document what he does. So if you got any tips for me, let me know. If I could have done anything better, let me know as well. If you want any specific, more detailed videos on things I've been doing, let me know about that as well, so I can try to help you out if needed. So there it is, everybody. As always, this is Paul from Boosted Films saying thanks so much for watching. I just want to say that domestic violence is never okay. If you or someone you know is experiencing issues with a partner and doesn't feel safe, please visit the website thehotline.org or call 1-800-799-SAFE.